Tuesday night, the last first in of another back-to-back for Washington. They'll be heading down to Atlanta tomorrow night. But tonight it was all about hosting the Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis Antetokounmpo, the #1 team in the Eastern Conference. Washington without 6 of their top players tonight. It was all about the young guns and what they were able to do against a rather formidable foe. Final score you can see over our shoulders, 140-128. Wes Hall and Jason Smith here in the perch. We will be joined by Chris, Drew, and Megan momentarily. But Jason, you and I, as we were sitting here watching this game, we was like, all right, we're missing 6 of our top best players. I just want to see what the young guys can do player development-wise. Rather surprised when you look at the people who were putting up some buckets tonight. What'd you see?
You know, I saw a lot of competition out there. They were fighting regardless of who was out there on the floor. Giannis was doing his thing, but overall, every guy on the floor, they continued to go out there and fight, regardless of what the score was, regardless how much they were down. Halftime, they could have just said, oh, you know what, let's just chalk it up. This was a loss. But they continued to fight. They made it a game. And I think the biggest thing, they made the Milwaukee Bucks keep their starters on the floor the entire game. That is great growth from young people.
That's what you want to see. I mean, looking at the box score, of course, Johnny Davis gives you 20 points after having a career-high 16 against New York. He continues to improve. Kendrick Nunn gave you 24 off the bench. He's a walking bucket. We already know this. But when you see Xavier Cooks, he gets his Wizards high with, what did he have tonight? 8 points. Jay Huff gives you 17. Quentin Jackson, we talked about him a ton during pregame. He gave you 10 points as well. So a lot of guys taking advantage of the opportunity afforded them. Jason, when you look at the Milwaukee Bucks and the fact that that's who the Wizards are facing tonight, doesn't it make you smile the fact that the guys didn't back down?
They didn't back down one bit. They took the challenge ahead and they said, you know what, it doesn't matter who's out there on the floor. I thought Johnny Davis was aggressive from the jump. Plus, Jay Huff really surprised me. He's known for defense, but the fact that he stretched out to the three-point line and he was knocking those down consistently. I mean, you see Lopez on the other side and he says, you know what, I can do that. But Jay Huff, he's known for defense and blocking shots. I was really surprised at him going out there. He had a great night tonight. Daniel Gafford was in foul trouble, so it gave Huff more opportunity. But Corey Kispert, he didn't have a career night again. I mean, it was bound to happen. He was very hot. He had a career.
Right. How many of those did he have?
Everybody else an opportunity to go out there, and I love what I saw from the young guys tonight.
You know, to that point about Jay Huff, he was 1 rebound away from another double-double.
Yeah.
Man, everybody putting up numbers tonight. Speaking of which, I want to bring Chris and Drew in here and get their thoughts on tonight. Gentlemen, we already know what the situation is that we're dealing with right now, so it's about the youth movement and what you've seen. Drew, I'm starting with you. What grade do you give the young guys tonight?
I'm going to give them an A. The reason why is because Jay Huff took advantage of his opportunity. We saw what Quentin Jackson did. That man had 10 points when he took 5 shots. Jay Huff took 10 shots and almost had 20. And then when you look at Johnny Davis having another career night, 20 points, I'm giving that an A. I mean, what else do you want from these guys? They were given an opportunity, and they made the best of it tonight. You saw things that you didn't think could happen. Sticks just said, hey, we knew Huff could block shots, but we didn't know he could shoot threes. And let me tell you, he could also windmill. He got a little bounce, too. We saw him in the warm-up lines prior to the game. So he has some athletic ability, too. But Xavier Cooks, he showed flashes at times. I mean, it's not a fair judgment or a fair sample size, I would say, him having to guard Giannis tonight. But I like the activity of Xavier Cooks as well.
I'm going to give him a B. I'm going to be harder on him.
What?
Let me explain. Yeah, let me tell y'all something about this dude. He's been yelling at me all season.
We got 3 more, Chris. We got 3 more.
HR is listening.
No load management over here. I'm here for all 82.
Let's go.
I like the young people going out and competing, but the thing that I talked about throughout the course of the game is you can't give the Milwaukee Bucks 23 three-pointers and shooting 55%. And a lot of those threes, if you go back and look at the tape, they're wide open. That's miscommunication, and I guess that happens with youth. You know, guys haven't been out there and have not played with each other. So I can't give them an A. I give them a B. They went out and scored 268 points scored tonight. So if you're a fan of offense, you got it tonight between these two teams.
Guys, I was impressed again when you look at the fact that they put 128 points up against the Milwaukee Bucks. Rather impressive, and I appreciate both of you guys' assessment. I'm going to let you guys get on out of here because I know you got a flight to the A-Town tomorrow night. Whatever you decide to eat.
Atlanta?
Yeah, you ready to eat?
Oh, it's soul food. Let's go.
Hey,
man, we'll see y'all.
You guys got an air fryer? We'll bring back leftovers.
Say less.
I got you for a sweet potato pie. I got you, brother.
My brother. Thank you very much, Chris and Drew. Hey, you know what, Sticks? I was looking at while we were sitting here observing the game. 9 turnovers. That's all the Wizards had. Remember pregame, we were like, what are one of the things that the Wizards have to do with the backcourt that didn't have Monte Morris and didn't have DeLon Wright? Because we didn't know DeLon wasn't going to play until right before tip-off. 9 turnovers compared to the 18 from Milwaukee. The young guys showing you, we can control the ball.
They took care of the ball, and I thought that was great by them. They were making sure that they were getting out there and scoring the basketball as well. 128 points. I mean, they did a phenomenal job of doing scoring, taking care of the basketball, but also getting out in transition and taking advantage of those turnovers that they forced by the Milwaukee Bucks. This is the #1 team in the East.
Yeah. Yes.
They competed toe-to-toe with them, and they did not back down one bit. You got to love that as a Wizards.
You know what else I love? This guy right here, Kendrick Nunn. Let me just run his box score for those who are listening. 24 points, 9 for 17 from the field, 5 for 6 from deep, 7 boards, 6 dimes, a block, and 2 steals. And oh, by the way, he closed out the night with only 2 fouls, Jason Smith.
This is a guy who took advantage of his opportunity. He was reading the pick and roll defense very, very well. He realized that the big was laying back on it. He took advantage, shooting threes. He was getting to the rim. He had a nice little floater game going on, but everything looked so easy for him out there. He wasn't rushed. He wasn't frantic or anything. He was making sure that he was taking the right shot. The defense gave him those shots, and he took advantage of it.
And we talk about efficiency a lot here. Not only did he score those 24 points, but what you don't see on that screen right there is the time that he did it in. 22 minutes on the court, Jason Smith. Efficiency from a guy who started off in Miami and had a hot beginning to his career, got injury riddled, was with the Lakers for a brief period, and we picked him up once we made a move during the Rui trade. And here he is showing some of the young guys. It's like, I don't have to know exactly what the plays are. I don't have to know anything else. Just give me the rock, and I'm going to go and make it happen. What does that influence kind of have on a guy like Johnny Davis, per se, when he sees Kendrick Nunn go get buckets like that?
Well, it lets you see it's not that hard to go out there with an NBA offense. Literally, you just call the big up for a pick and roll, and then you read out of that. If the big is going to be staying down towards the basket, you can take up the space and go out for a nice little floater game. If they're both going to go under the screen, you can stay back and shoot a nice little three. Johnny has this potential to go out there and do these things throughout his NBA game. He's progressing. He's getting more confidence. And I want to see him take kind of a little bit of more of a progression these last couple games of having that confidence, because you've seen it grow and grow and grow. He's taking threes. He's going off the dribble. He's getting to the basket. He's getting out in transition. As to where in the beginning of the season, he was a little bit hesitant. He wasn't as confident as he was. But that goes back to what everyone has said about the G League.
Yes.
It gives you an opportunity to go out there and get your feet wet and make sure that you get the confidence. Now you're seeing him at the end of the season. He's getting these confidence games against NBA competition. You're not going to get that in NBA Summer League. You're going to go out there these last couple games, take advantage of it. Soak up what knowledge you can get from going against the #1 team in the East, going against all the playoff teams that are ramping up, and you're playing against great competition. Take advantage of it.
It matters. And when I saw Johnny get that dunk on Drew Holiday for
we jumped out of our seats.
We jumped out of our seats, and you saw that little bit of anger, a little bit of
That's what I want to see more of that. Yes,
more,
please.
Johnny, do that thing. Let's bring in Megan McPeak and see what she has to say about tonight. Again, the final score 140-128. Megan, we want to get your thoughts about the young guns and what they were able to do on the court tonight. Albeit in the loss, we still want an open and honest assessment of what we all witnessed.
You know, I've got some numbers here for you. So my categories: the bench, points in the paint, fast break, and second chance points. Of those 4 categories, the Wizards only lost one of those categories, and that was transition. They were a +12 when it comes to bench scoring, 59-47. Points in the paint, +24 advantage, 74-50. Second chance points, that's where they lost. They were at a disadvantage, 19-9. And then fast break points, they had the advantage, 13-9. This is a team that was riddled with injuries. You didn't have guys in the lineup. You don't have, really outside of Gaff, any of your starters really and truly. I know Corey Kispert has been in and out of the starting lineup throughout the regular season, but this was an entirely young core of guys that were called upon to go up against the #1 team in the East in one of the best defenses, one of the most potent offenses, who were completely healthy when you think of the fact they only had a few guys on their injury report, but they had their main guys. And they pushed them to the point. You heard Drew talking about it. You heard Sticks talking about it. They had to keep their starters on the floor until the final moments of this fourth quarter. You can't ask anything more, and Bradley Beal loves it so much. He's just having a great time here. You look at what these young guys did, that's saying something, because this is one of the best teams in the league, and they competed and they fought.
Indeed. And I know we don't believe in moral victories, but if we had to kind of say one that was close to what would be one, tonight would actually be one when it comes to the young player development on this team. Guys, let's all stay put right here because right now head coach Wes Hall Jr. is in the postgame locker room, and I want to hear exactly what he has to say. Wizards fans.